Hello and welcome to episode 11 of the Subs Bench podcast. Again, we're a man down. Dusty's phoned in sick.
Little man can't back up.
But we are in the luxurious surroundings of Veto Sports in Acacia Ridge,
setup.
which incidentally, if anyone who's interested, is 53 minutes from the peninsula. Takes quite a long time to get here, and we're definitely doing the next one. My neck of the woods. We're definitely getting a couple of
Dolphin Stadium, maybe.
Peninsula Power would do.
Oh, that would make more sense.
Yeah. But if we can get the Dolphins, yeah.
No, I'm doing Power.
And today's second guest, is Veto Sports staff member and AC Carina stalwart, Josh McKee. Welcome.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having me, boys. It's a pleasure to be on.
I say welcome. We're kind of welcoming his domain.
We're welcoming you
into your studio.
Welcome.
Yeah.
Oh, we got there.
Yeah. No, welcome.
You might have noticed, if you're watching the video or not listening to the audio,
the fresh threads are on.
TC is modelling
the Subs Bench kit.
Very well, and I'm just wearing
provided by Veto. It's brilliant.
Yeah.
It feels
It's
unreal.
light.
It's very light.
Real light.
Very comfortable.
Don't mind that.
Can't go wrong with the black and white look. It's
No,
classy.
it's very classy. You've really captured everything about the Subs Bench. This would look very good with a fluorescent bib and a jacket over the top, sitting on the pines.
Next time. Yeah, next time. So I suppose let's delve into Veto Sports in general.
Lovely,
so talk us through 15 years or so.
Yeah, the company's been around for quite a while. So obviously I haven't been there quite that long, but it started back in the day with sort of your more old school multimedia football sort of environment. So back then when when football training was based around, everyone would get a DVD or a VHS at home and you'd learn how to do drills and stuff on the TV because YouTube wasn't around or anything like that. So the company was framed around those sort of a structure where it was, I think it was a 7-part VHS DVD system. It was Matt McKay actually back in the day. I think he was 16 or 17 years old. It was the athlete of choice at the time, and he ran through all the instructional plays and how to pass, how to kick, all that sort of stuff. And that went around to clubs all around Australia. FFA jumped onto it. So that was sort of like the springboard. However, obviously, the likes of YouTube came in and things like that. It was a dying art. People weren't buying things like that anymore. So it turned into, how do we evolve and how do we adapt and survive, really?
Yeah.
And that's when the company went in the direction of apparel and hardware for an array of sports.
Yeah.
But obviously football's been that one that's sort of been the core the whole way through. So across those sort of 15 years, it's dipped and dived through varying sort of platforms to find us where we are today, supplying kit for sporting clubs and schools countrywide, overseas as well.
Is I say obviously football's a main part of the business. Is football the biggest sport?
100%, yeah. Definitely the biggest sport. I'd say purely because of the Queensland base, that helps as well. We've got such a strong footballing base across the NPL, FQPL, community football, mini roos. But the likes of basketball, netball, a bit of corporate wear, and a lot of school-based apparel is starting to come through now, which is great. Basketball's really picked up over the past 3 years. That's interesting to see, and it's coming from a football background, it's cool to open your eyes and see something a bit different. But definitely football is the core. Everyone at the company is involved with football or another sport, so that helps. That's probably a driving factor as to why we have so many good relationships with customers. Is that you're not an account manager, you're a committee member yourself, or you're a player, and when someone calls you up at 9 a.m. going, "I've got no socks," you know exactly why, because you've been in that space a few years ago, and you hit on lock and get some socks for someone. So it's a pretty cool environment.
I know that because I've been here for 11 years in Australia now, in Brisbane in particular, and Veto was always kind of the one designer that most teams had. It was them and I want to say Gorilla, but I think Buffalo. Is they the same?
Buffalo was definitely that old, sort of like those SSI days.
SSI.
And I think everyone really had that old school. Everyone had the same kit. Just with a different paneling colour.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, so it was an interesting time then, because I think sort of that was never a time of sublimation. Everything was cut and sew back then. But like you said, everyone had the one shirt with a blue trim or a yellow trim, and then sort of a few companies come along, sort of changed the game, and sublimation came in, and that's where you now see today these kits that are just next level.
Yeah.
That
crazy
was
concepts.
the difference. It probably was about 6-7 years ago, wasn't it, when
Definitely. Massive game
sublimation
changer.
came in, and all of a sudden look, we're all sort of fans of nice kits, like you've all played. When you see another team that have got like nice gear on, you're like, that's all right, isn't it?
I think everyone's a fiend for a good kit.
Yeah.
Like, you can't it's probably the most exciting bit of the year. Come end of football season when you're looking at the Premier League and La Liga and Serie A. And
it's actually happening now, isn't it?
Exactly right.
So
Who's
all the
dropping
kits are
what?
coming out.
One thing I must say is City's kit this year, the new one.
Is
Can't
this the
stand
one
it.
with
the mosaic tile pattern?
Yeah, it's brutal. What do you think of the Chelsea kit?
With the big three mobile.
I don't mind.
It's simple. It's safe.
Yeah.
It's safe, but doesn't it look like a training shirt?
Yeah.
More so
Just
than
blue with a bit of a
kit?
navy trim.
Yeah.
I think the big shock visually is the 3 Mobile logo, just because it's you're so used to seeing. I think it was Yokohama tires, maybe. I think it was previously.
It's a bit more subtle.
And it's
wasn't
correct,
it?
and now it's just in your face and
Remember Samsung?
definitely, yeah.
But it just looks like a training shirt to me. Nice though.
Yeah.
And isn't there a away kit light blue?
It is. It's actually. I think it's an inverse. It's the same design, just an inverse of colour.
Yeah, I like the away shirt a bit better.
I haven't seen the away
I could
shirt.
talk about football kits for days. Like,
I think that's all. That's half the reason why you love coming to work, because you're talking about football kit all day, and you're designing football kit all day, and you're selling football kit all day. Like, it's a dream. Really. And like I said, this is the best time of the year because every kit's getting released, and on footy headlines they're dropping rumours and fake releases, and everyone's getting stitched up, and I love it. It's a great time.
What's in the history of football? What's the best kit that you can remember? Probably should have primed this before.
We should have probably primed it because it's
it's tough.
It's a tough one.
But there's iconic kits.
Definitely there's iconic kits.
I think Nigeria's kit from one of the World Cups.
Yeah.
I'm thinking maybe not 98. Maybe it might have been a bit of like.
Was it blocky?
Yeah, it was. I just remember is it a Rigba song? And he had the dreadlocks, ponytail. Like I'm just picturing the Nigerian kit. They had a really good kit back in the day. Anything Leeds, mate, just plain.
I've never thought Leeds have been.
Sometimes
they're always plain.
simple's best.
They're always plain.
Yeah.
Like I think that's where they get. Yeah. I mean,
Was it Cameroon who had that sleeveless one?
They had the real tight. Remember, they had the real tight as well.
There's been some crazy trends throughout the years.
Definitely not. I couldn't get away with sleeveless, and I couldn't get away with tight. I remember playing for a Sunday team back home, and our manager worked for a sportswear. He had links with sportswear people, so we used to have like 5 different kits a year.
Yeah.
So we'd always either play in Bolton Wanderers kit, or we'd play in. I think we had an England away kit. We had Crystal Palace kits for our cup finals because he knew Simon Jordan, the owner. But then this one time, he got the white and the red. He got the home and away, the Wales kit. Can you remember the first Kappa one that was like skin tight? I swear to God, I played 90 minutes, right? And I was just breathing in the whole time. I couldn't run properly.
Straight jacket.
Breathing in, like walking around trying to look like half decent.
And I think, like we said before too, like it's very much a trend. Like when you look at even football 10 years ago, like there was not a single tight jersey.
No.
Like, everything was like what looked to appear to be 3 sizes too big, but that was the norm.
That was the norm.
Whereas now there's not a centimetre of extra material on a kit. But
everything's fitted.
those pro footballers have
Shorts
got the
with
bodies.
length.
Yeah,
Remember there was like a
got
few
the bodies
years.
to do it.
Yeah, well they're all absolutely ripped now.
Correct.
So ripped. Like, have you seen a bit off topic, but like Sergio Ramos pictures of him lately? Like, and then 10 years ago when they won the world, like, what's he on?
They definitely got busy in the COVID time off. I think.
Mate, he is jacked. Like,
it's crazy.
Well, look at Ronaldo. Like.
but it must be there's something going on at Madrid because Bale's jacked.
The Spanish, well, he gets his goal swing probably. That's what's doing it
Yeah.
for him.
I don't know.
He's not playing too much football at the moment, is he?
Yeah.
Iconic kits. Let's get back to that. Like the old Argentinian kits.
Yeah.
Like they just look good.
Yeah.
They're classic.
I think when you think about it too, like even in the Australia side of things, like, and it's sort of come back now again with the Matildas kit like that.
Yeah.
They call that spew kit.
Yeah, like the Robbie. I think there's one
Robbie
floating
Slater.
around. Yeah, Robbie Slater floating
so, like,
around. It's just
that's as iconic as it gets in an Australian sort of space.
Yeah.
But there's been some crackers over the years, and
The Germany kit with the where it just kind of went across.
Yeah.
Like World Cup 90-ish.
Yeah.
I think I'd tell you, like, your big suppliers over the last few years when it comes to sort of World Cup and Euros have really gone for sort of a throwback
they have,
feel over the past
Retro.
sort of 4 years, and I think everyone's a fan of it.
Yeah,
you can't beat a throwback kit.
No.
Matilda's kits, I don't mind that.
I don't mind it at all.
Matilda's kit, yeah.
That coach has just resigned today, hasn't he?
Yeah.
That's it. 18 months in the job, gone.
Yeah.
Well, I think there's a backstory to that because I think he taken on the new A League team
he is too,
Western Sydney. Yeah,
Right.
So I think he was always gonna step away.
Gonna go.
Yeah, but
All right.
Nothing like a little bit of drama.
it'll be maybe that Mel Andrietta
Wouldn't be a bad shout.
would be.
I think she's just a local around here. I think she's at
she's Brizzy.
she's at one of the high schools.
Marsden, I
Around
think.
Marsden,
Yeah,
I think.
Danny Byrne. Yeah.
Besides the other day. What about local kits? Which team? I mean,
I was
I've only
thinking
been
that.
in
I was
10
trying to
years, but
think about that.
which team do you always look and go? They always have, and something. Look, it's partly dependent on the colour of
Yeah,
the club.
correct.
Like,
Yeah.
There's some things you just can't make
some
look
things
nice.
you can't make,
No.
and then you would know this more than anything. If I
100%,
came to
yeah.
you, like, look, and I'd quite like them, but like, how do you make? Fucking hell, I'm gonna have to say it now. Like, Logan's colours look good. Like,
I knew you were
maroon,
going
like,
to say that. I knew
No,
you were gonna
you're
make-
right though. Like,
It's difficult to make.
Yeah.
But
I'll use
maroon look
like
good.
Carina as an example. Like,
Yeah.
her colours are blue, green, and white.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, everyone
it's a
tells you
struggle.
blue and green cannot be seen together.
Yeah.
But you've got to make things work, and I think in the design side of things, you've got to find ways to reinvent the wheel. Like, there's so many clubs that are a black and white stripe club.
Yeah.
But how do you make black and white stripes different the year after and the year after
Yeah,
that?
yeah.
So I think that's part of the design challenge that we find ourselves in. But it's
Like if you're talking like just Veto, for example,
Yeah.
like I think the Olympic kit is quite nice. I like the
That's
like
classy.
the stripes,
The pinstripes, yeah,
the pinstripes. I think in NPL Olympic, like Power's got a reasonably nice kit.
You've always
I
had good
feel-
kits.
Power's kit's nice.
Yeah,
But again,
I
it's
do
because
like
you
the
got
Gold
someone.
Coast. I do like Gold Coast Knights, but they're a bit
Yeah, they're good.
Lion. Like
But I
Lions is
think
boring, but-
it helps when your club president like Craig Furigal really likes a nice kit,
Yeah.
and like it takes plenty of time on getting it right.
Take some ownership in it.
But
Yeah.
I think that's a
Don't
like,
just leave it up to someone
Correct.
to design something shit.
I think that's like players appreciate that. Like players
Yeah.
appreciate like a nice kit. Like I know Heathy is always smashing Rochdale about like how shit the like yellow and green looks. Like he hates it.
So there's another one.
Yeah.
Yellow and green. How do you make that look good? It's a struggle.
Maybe we just have to make it happen then.
Maybe.
maybe that's
Set
the
something else
maybe
with
that's the
Football
answer.
transfer rumours.
Yeah, but
The old
again,
Rochdale.
I like Rochdale. But
Yeah.
yellow and green.
The old Rochdale where it was like the one. It was like back in the day when they were like massive. It was like the old navy blue. They had like a navy
Yeah.
blue and a white. Like that was simple, but it was like. It was Rochdale.
Yeah,
like it
correct,
was sort of like iconic. I feel like for that, and they just had a simple logo, and it was simple. It wasn't out there, but it was a nice kit.
And that's probably another debate that comes up, and we find that with a lot of our clubs is like when do you go too far in terms of breaking tradition? Like,
Yeah.
Is an extra stripe too far, or is it an extra trim colour pushing the friendship? And a lot of clubs are really sort of stuck in their ways in terms of their traditional roots and their colours, but then a lot of other clubs are like, no, this is a time for us to be a bit experimental and have a bit of fun. And
I quite like Capalabar's kit. Capalabar's got a quite nice kit, I feel.
Yeah. But they got like yellow and blue, is it? Yellow and blues, they're not bad colours to work with.
They've got like an all blue and an all grey
Yeah.
and stuff like that. I feel like they've done it quite well with their colours.
I think tricolours always works.
Yeah.
Depending on what they are. But red, black, white, like strong colours. Blue, red, white, like in Power's case, strong.
We always had a minging kit at East. Like East kit was always minging.
Orange.
Yeah.
Like,
Hard
what can
to-
you do with that?
you gotta be smart.
Yeah.
That's the thing. Like, our designers will back me up in saying this is that you can make anything look good.
Yeah, you can.
But it's just whether those right people at the right time that are making the decisions on whether they like a kit, like it or not.
Yeah.
We always have this sort of argument in the office that you'll design 10 kits for someone and you'll have your least favourite design.
Yeah.
And it's the one that the
They'll
club will
pick,
go with.
yeah.
It's funny, but
Yeah.
it's got to mean something to the club though. They're the ones
Yeah.
making the decision at the end.
Hey everyone, here today to give a little plug to one of the Subs Bench loyal sponsors, Mr. Mark Cruz from Bank of Queensland, Windsor. Now, Mark is one of the best in the business, and I know this from personal experience as myself, Dusty and Ryan Stenthouse bank our One Short company with Mark. One Short is one of the best clothing labels in the world, and Mark is a big part of that. Mark has a lot of upside. One, he's incredibly good looking, and yes, ladies, he is single. And two, he is very professional and very, very good at what he does. So if you A, want a hot date with Mark, or B, want some great banking advice, please slide into his DMs and get in contact with one of the best bankers in Brisbane today. Cheers.
So let's throw it across to you. So if, for example, East's a team who Orange, Tigers and all that, if they came to you and saw design the kit, how
do we go about it?
How would you go about it? Do you say, look, it'd be better if you went black with a bit of orange on, or?
I think there's a few different fronts you've got to take. It's like, what does the club value in terms of like, what are their origins? Like, if it's a club that's set in their ways, you don't have room, you don't have much room to play with.
Yeah.
If it's a club that's, they might have a bit of a younger board or some fresh thinking, and they go, no, we see this opportunity as a bit of a rebrand, a fresh feel throughout the club. I think you've got to really gauge that bit first. And then it's, how can we push the friendship without pushing the friendship too far?
Yeah.
Because like you said before, like, everyone's a gear fiend.
Yeah.
Like, as soon as a kit comes out, they like it, they'll wear it, and they'll buy it for their friends, they'll buy it for their families, they love it. But I think it's about finding out which direction the club wants to head in first.
Yeah.
And then our design team gets cracking and can come up with some pretty crazy concepts.
Yeah.
There's a few classics, like, for example, in that instance with the East, like, you can't beat a full blackout kit with a little bit of orange piping or something like that.
Yeah, I was going to say that, actually. Like, I did just say that they had minging kits, but when Glockner came in, he was like pretty pedantic about his kits, and I think he designed them. We had Adidas at the time, and he had an all black kit.
Yeah.
It was all black and the stripes were orange. That was like really nice kit, and then it was like an orange with the black stripes. And
I think I remember that time.
Yeah.
You could swap it, so you could wear like the orange with the black with the orange, and that was actually a really nice kit. Like, it was simple, but it was like classy.
I think you've got to the point. It's someone has to care.
Yeah.
And if someone cares,
and
you'll have great kits.
His biggest thing was like, this is. He was passionate about it, like you were saying. Like, he wanted us to look a certain way, and he made it happen. And that was actually a really nice kit.
Feel good,
look good, play good. Feel good.
Yeah.
Feel good. Yeah,
well,
look good.
It all works.
Good, play
It's
good.
like, it sounds petty, but it's spot on.
Yeah.
Like, I can tell you right now, the amount of boys that will put on a kit and be like straight into the mirror.
Yeah.
That's the first thing they'll do.
Yeah.
But that's part of what football football is that nowadays. Like, how many, like, these big clubs overseas, they make their money on selling kits.
Yeah.
Like, for Juve, Ronaldo was paid off in 4 hours of kit sales. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, like, kits are a marketing tool. Kits are a business tool.
Juve is one where, like, as a designer, like,
how do you
reinvent the wheel of that? Because, like, it's such an iconic.
Yeah, and I suppose this year was the one where they went crazy.
Yeah,
like, it was the first year in ages they haven't had stripes.
Yeah,
and everyone's just like, "What have you done?"
Yeah,
but it's all about taking risks, calculated risks.
Yeah.
I think with a club like Juve, people are going to buy it regardless.
They're going to buy it regardless.
It's the same with like United and Liverpool and Madrid and Barca. Like, Barca have went a bit. Have they gone cubed this year? Is it cubed?
Yeah, they've got
squares.
They've got a very different kit. I was actually talking to one of the boys 2 or 3 nights ago about this.
Yeah.
They posted up Messi wearing it, and we weren't too big of fans of it. But
it's
interesting to see when a club decides to take the risk and how the fans perceive it.
Yeah.
But like you said, the next day they're in the shop lining up to buy it anyway.
Yeah. And the thing is, I think with the likes of certainly this Barca kit, again, 2 colours that, well, if it's not Barca, like, you struggle, but because you see it that often, they probably grow on you.
Correct. Yeah, it's very identifiable.
Barca kit you've looked at and went, oh, bit shit that, and then in 6 weeks' time, you're like, oh, quite classic. Look at it now.
Yeah, it's interesting. It is very interesting, but it's an exciting time to be thinking about football kits, and obviously with the Euros sort of being delayed as well, what that looks like in a year and a half, whether all those international kits get re-released. Yeah. So that'll be an exciting little time period as well.
We're talking about, I suppose, supporters around the world buying kits from teams and this, that and the other. Is there any clubs that really push, or would you look to start pushing down there, get a lot of replica kits for supporters to buy? Has that started to...
Yeah, and the best example of this that I could probably use, because it's, I think, the club that's probably done it the best in the last 2 years, would be sort of Ipswich Knights.
Yeah.
With the sort of Coal Stars merger. I forget the name of the other club that they merged with back long before I was born. But in that time period, and last year they did like it was literally a retro kit. And it alternates between the two original clubs, and it's a perfect way of connecting to the old
Yeah.
And all the FQPL side played in it last year. They had a huge day. They had thousands of people up at the club. They've done it fantastically. I know a lot of clubs are trying to get on board with it. It's a great way to sell kit, fundraise, because every club needs to raise money for varying projects. But the same idea, get a bit of a nostalgic feel into a club, because some of these retro kits are pretty quality.
So
and then remade in today's garment, in today's feel,
so they're comfortable. You can wear them socially.
Yeah, do you know what I mean? Yeah, exactly right.
So, for example, what you're talking about per shirt that you would sell to a club for, then they just put $10 on, sell the supporters or whatever.
A lot of clubs, do it that way. A lot of clubs use it as a fundraising tool for charities and things like that. Like we do a lot of clubs, breast cancer round, mental health awareness, and things like that. We're currently doing a little project with Carina right now for Liam Safe's boy, with some fundraising for some beanies. So there's so many ways that you can actually use apparel as a message and a tool for good. And we'll probably get onto it, but Naidoc is a fantastic way of doing that, because we can convey such an important message, and an important message that needs to be spread to so many people through a garment. So it's more than a football shirt. It's a powerful message.
It's a conversation starter, isn't it?
100%.
Because I know that the power kit, which you might as well show now.
Show it now, definitely.
Just hold it up to that camera there. So that's one of the Naidoc kits that you did last year.
Definitely, last year. I was working with Craig and Ramon to lock that one down.
So we wore that in 2 games, a home game and an away game, and I'm pretty sure we sold quite a lot of them, because
hundreds of them.
The supporters still wear them to come to our games now.
Exactly right.
And someone might say, is that this season's kit or whatever, and straight away, it's about the Naidoc weekend.
Correct, and what it means to the players and to the local community. Like, I know that Ramon spent a lot of time ensuring
that design's specific
to the region. And I know that this year we planned on something pretty cool as well. I'm not too sure what will happen given the COVID sort of situation, but it's a very important relation to the area, to the people, and to really convey that strong message that there's a very significant cultural meaning to this home of football, more so than what it is now, than what it was 10 years ago, and then how can we deliver that in a football shirt, which is a pretty crazy thing. And like you said, the buyback from people, not only in a monetary sense where they come and purchase the kit, but the knowledge that's gained, the conversation that started. People are educated to the point where things that they didn't even know. And I think that's a great thing to see.
So is that which kit's that?
This one here. So this is another sort of Indigenous theme. This is from the Australian Indigenous Football Championships. So that occurs every year up here in Queensland. It's gone for 2 years.
And Ramon has quite a bit to do with that.
He does,
well,
So Ramon, you've got Lawrence Gilbert, Damien Munday. So the first year was, what are we now, 2020? 2018.
At Caboolture?
That was last year. The year before was at Football Brisbane. So that was the first ever time that they've had this competition. Crazy huge success. I think there was something like 20 clubs or 20 regions that represented at the tournament. We were lucky enough to partner with the tournament and be able to provide kits for every single club that competed. So even for us as as staff members, we went through a whole educational process where it was learning about. It wasn't just a club you were learning about. You were learning about a language and a culture and a meaning from Australia-wide. There was teams that flew from Perth to play in a tournament. So that gave you a really good appreciation for how much this means, because that's not a cheap trip to fly to a men's and a women's team over, supporters, family members, and things like that. It's a big job. So it was a privilege to be able to do that, and it was good to see some really high-profile people got behind this. Craig Foster was a great advocate for it. He what would it have been? 2018. That would have been. Where was the World Cup in 2018?
Was it Brazil or Russia?
Russia.
Yeah.
So it's a funny story actually. We got a call from Lawrence Gilbert one night, and it was Craig. Craig's represents this particular region, the Bundjalung Warriors. We got a call from Lawrence one night and said Craig leaves in 4 days to Russia. Can you get him a kit? And we thought about it, and I was like, well, the kits haven't even been made yet. This was 3 months before the competition had started. And we managed to turn around a one-off kit for him to take with him over to Russia to the World Cup. And him and Lucy Zelich on the broadcast were wearing it, which is a pretty crazy for us, but for the Bundjalung Warriors, that was humongous. Worldwide media coverage about their story and why their design was what it was. So that was a pretty crazy experience. A little bit of a stressful time as well, but we managed to get it done in 4 days. It was fingers crossed there were no customs delays or anything like that.
Yeah.
We got through smooth sailing.
Isn't that the year that Optus shit itself and
That's
SBS
right,
got all the games
they
anyway?
got all the games
so you
anyway.
probably had 10 times the
10
viewers.
times the
Because no one was trusting Optus.
Nah.
It's worked for some people, not others.
Yeah.
I remember that.
So you
you
just
just sit
went
there,
SBS.
sit there at the TV and just watch that little buffering circle.
Yeah.
And you're just like, why have I paid for
Yeah, I
this?
just watched it. I
Yeah.
watched all of them on
SBS.
Yeah,
So,
exactly right.
You'd have got a lot of coverage.
Yeah.
From that. And it was
Because
great.
Optus-
And it was great for the tournament itself as well, because then Craig was in a huge ambassador for the tournament. He came and he flew in for a charity game on the day too.
Yeah.
So that was huge. So it's a pretty exciting time, and we've partnered with Football Brisbane this year.
Yeah.
So Football Brisbane are actually going to have. It was planned for last week.
Yeah.
Or the week before. So it might be scheduled for later in the season, but an officially recognised Naidoc round.
Yeah.
For people to wear these kits and for education to really be promoted.
Will Veto, any club that wants to get on board can get a Naidoc?
Can definitely still do, because obviously it was planned for July when the original Naidoc calendar was announced. Off the top of my head, I think it's mid-November to early November this year, which lines up for pretty much the back end of a season.
Yeah.
So we've got heaps of clubs that are already doing it, but by all means, any other club that's interested in it to get in contact. It's a great educational tool, and it's a great sort of bonding tool for a club to get around and rally around a great cause, really.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Well, we'll get Billy to chuck a
link in or
hyperlink.
something. Yeah.
Definitely, that's a great
Just
idea.
just underneath this.
Yeah, I think the best thing about that is too is we've partnered with Football Brisbane, and for every shirt that's purchased by a club in that in sort of this calendar cycle of it, $5 from every shirt purchase goes back to the Queensland Indigenous Football Federation.
Yeah.
So that's
good.
That's a great cause in itself. So not only are you helping your local community, but you're helping the extended community as well. So it's a win-win for everyone in that respect.
Yeah. So when is that tournament? It's normally September.
It's normally
September.
It's normally just after the end of like the football
just the
season.
yeah.
However, I do think it's been cancelled for this year.
Right.
Given-
It's not on this year.
Correct, given all the restrictions around travelling and things like that. It's a shame.
Yeah.
But I had a chat to Ramon about that the other week, and that it's, you've got a year to
Plan for the
next one and then make it even bigger and better.
Yeah.
So I think
seems to be just gaining momentum, doesn't it?
It
Because
does.
I think there's a couple of different ones popped up. Like
there's one down south, I think it's called Nowra.
I know Nabby played.
He played in it because actually, he sent me a photo of him wearing, because we did. Actually, it would have been him. He played in the tournament, but I think he also played at Wollongong United or Wollongong someone.
Yeah,
he did.
Because we did. They got in contact to do an Indigenous kit for them.
Yeah.
And it didn't even click that he was playing there, and he sent me a photo one day of him wearing the kit.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. But yeah, it's spread Australia wide. We've done them for people in WA, in Tassie, in South Australia. So it's getting bigger and better, and it's great to see for everyone involved.
So you're almost like the official Naidoc, or the Indigenous competition supplier, really.
Yeah. So we've really established a great working relationship with Ramon over that sort of 2 to 3 year period. Where it's, for us, it's about how we can, like we said before, how can we communicate that message, and we're doing it through football kits.
Yeah.
So it's a powerful tool for us, and something that we're ecstatic to be able to help with.
Yeah.
Wanting to buy business assets or motor vehicles? Do you need experienced business advice in tough times and you're not sure who to trust or talk to? Terry Kirkham, with over 30 years of experience, and his firm Global Business Auctioneers and Valuers with its range of services can help you. Global provides consulting advice on business exit strategies, risk positioning, restructuring and more, business and business asset valuations, and business asset sales through their online auction platform or tender sales. Check Global out at www.globalauctioneers.com and www.globalvaluers.com, or call Terry directly on 1300 557 112 for a chat.
All right. Just talk us through the benefits of this particular one. I mean, it feels good.
It feels nice, yeah.
So
so this is something it's probably been I'd say about a 1.5 year project.
Yeah.
So you guys are actually lucky enough. This is the first kit that's been made using this material.
Yeah.
So it's called a Velux Fuse. You guys will probably be able to see it. The guys on the camera might not be able to see it, but it's a few different materials that have been fused together.
Yeah, it does.
And if you look on the inside,
it's all
you can see
different
stitching and different paneling pieces and stuff like that. So it's 1.5 years in the making. Some long Skype calls and things like that to get it perfect. But we've sort of believe we've mastered it over that sort of a 1.5 year period, and it'll be able to be rolled out for clubs.
So this is next season's design, almost.
Correct. So it's one of the, we normally float between 6 to 7 different material choices throughout a year, just to keep it varying because obviously, down in Tassie, it needs to be a bit warmer. Up down here, it needs to be lighter as because you die out on the football pitch. But it will be added to our catalogue of available materials. And I reckon there'll be clubs going crazy to get their hands on it because it's, like you said before, like you can't even feel it on you.
No,
it's that light.
It's extremely light. Yeah. No, it's nice.
It's crazy. Like we said before, in terms of the designs, like how football material itself has changed over the years. Like I remember those old school cut and sew SSI kits, like it was like a jumper.
It was like a jumper.
They were heavy,
fluffy on the inside.
Yeah,
but you didn't think anything of it. You're like, well, that's how it is.
It's just.
Whereas now, like you can't, it's a few grams.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can't feel a shirt. So
and you know what I like? The fact that there's no badge.
Yeah, it doesn't rub or
nipple rash.
It's a funny thing because like so many clubs want. Because when you think about an embroidered badge is a real traditional look, and some clubs want that, and some clubs do want this full sublimated, nothing on them, nothing heavy, nothing heat press on the back. So it's funny how different choices get made for different clubs, but it's exciting.
Each to their own, I suppose.
100%. You've got to be accommodating. That's thing. We've definitely learned over the last few years. It's yes, we're making the kits, but they're not for us. They're for a club, and they're the ones wearing them, and it means something to them.
Yeah. Is there one club in Queensland that don't get supplied by Veto that you've always kind of thought they'd be the club, like a big high profile
club? I think
like, for example, Lions.
Correct. Yeah, I think funny that we actually were a Lions supplier before they went to, I think they were BLK maybe. Off to Kappa. So we had some great times with stuff, even the likes of Brisbane City and stuff like that. So we always back our ability to to be able to provide to these huge clubs. It's funny because like there's you gain a lot of coverage out of some of these bigger clubs. Like partnering with them is great. Like don't get me wrong, but I often get the satisfaction in partnering with some of these clubs that have never had a chance. And I think that's what really did us well in down in Tasmania. People sort of just forgot that there were clubs down there, and people didn't care. So I think that mentality of partnering with clubs that are forgotten about, and the joy that it brings to them, and their committees that people care that they can get the material, and that's one thing that we really promote is that you can have the material that and the fit that Olympic plays for, that Olympic wears. If you're a Cat 3 club, if you're a City League team, there's no discrepancy, there's no discrimination. Do you know what I mean? In terms of where your club is at, to ensure that everyone's
the same product
on a product. Yeah, exactly right, on an equal playing field. In terms of one club that we'd love to get, maybe a Pen Power.
I think the contract's up this year.
But
Pitch.
To be fair, any club that you can get as a club is a great thing.
Business is business.
Business is business, but it's always an exciting time getting a new club because you're allowed to put your fresh feel on things, and it's an exciting time period. But
do you find when it gets towards the end of the local FFA Cup rounds, you're obviously looking at the teams wearing Veto thinking, come on.
I can tell you 100% every year we got the draw out on paper. We'll mark up, this is a Veto club, this is a Nike club, and sort of see who they can get and who they can verse. Last year, I think would have been Magpies and Olympic from Queensland that got through. Obviously wearing our kits. And when the draw was happening, I was like, please don't draw them. Please don't draw each other. Please don't draw each other. So that was great, obviously, that Olympic won. They won. Then they versus Adelaide, so great coverage for us.
Televised game?
That was, I think. So we were there.
I look at the exact same thing.
With
my stuff.
Well, especially with the product.
Because obviously, we sort of... Josh and I, we converse, we do business together, but
hookups.
It's a thrill for business. I can imagine. I'm nowhere near what Veto is. I'm small time, but it's such a thrill to see your brand going nationwide, and
it's crazy, definitely. And I think Magpies, was it Coomera Colts? I think they drew.
Yeah, they drew Coomera.
Coomera, and then they went down to Melbourne and played. I think it was Moreland Zebras.
Yeah, they got.
They got
a bit of a touch up.
I think they did. But
nice,
great
kid,
experience.
Though.
Yeah, the best.
Great. The kid looked great.
Exactly right. The kid looked great.
Really good.
The funny thing with that, a little story with Magpies is that playing in Queensland, they never really needed crazy winter gear.
Yeah,
it was always just so hot. And they drew Melbourne. This first thing the club was on the phone was, we need puffer jackets, we need track pants, we need all this stuff that they've never had to use before. So that was a funny little experience. We had a week and a half to get all that sorted. But it's good. No, it's fun.
Yeah, no, it's. I can well imagine. Like, did Paul O'Brien, was he when Total Compression when he scored?
Yeah.
Against
Yeah.
I bet you were.
I was, but yeah.
It's the first thing you look for is like, can we see that logo?
Like even like there's a really good the Chris Lucas, the backflip when he scored against Adelaide, he was wearing Total Compression.
Exactly right.
Like, a lot of Bentley Greens boys, a lot of Heidelberg boys. Like so I always keep an eye out. And
I don't think people, like some people, understand for like a business like yourself how much that means to see your brand on TV or in a newspaper or something like that, and people take it for granted, but like that's something you've worked for years on, and to see that that like a little bit of recognition, it's a huge
I think
deal.
it's like the on the Football Queensland when they send around the emails, like the header, the latest email is like a picture of is like Whitey actually.
Actually, I think I know exactly.
And it's
what
like
you're
they got
talking
the Veto kit and like, and then you can see Whitey's got the tote, like he's got that's the head, like that's the first thing that whoever clicks on that email sees is like
branding.
Both the brands like just there, and
it's awesome.
It's it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
G'day everyone, Tom Carroll here from Total Compression. As you can tell by the stiffness of your nipples, the weather is a little bit chilly outside. If you fancy to get a hold of any of the Total Compression products, please visit www.totalcompression.com.au and use the coupon code TheSubsBench to receive 10% off any Total Compression product. Cheers, guys.
It is good though. Club-wise, so obviously you're involved in the whole designing of kits and whatnot, but in terms of playing the game,
definitely,
you told us before you had 1 year at Easts.
Yeah, that was
many moons ago.
15, 16, is that sort of an age group. I'm a keeper, or was a keeper, before my body gave up on me. But one thing from East is I remember it was when James Meyer was at East, and we were doing keeper training, and he came down with us. I think it was in 16s, back when like sort of like BJL days, those leagues. Yeah. And James Meyer was taking like shots at us. I've never been so scared in my life. Like the first one that hit my hand, I was like, I've shattered my wrist. I was like, I couldn't believe it, but crazy experiences. But 1 year at East, that was more so just like a family member of mine was playing there, so that was sort of like the Claude Capelli days at East. So that was a nice little, and that was all where we all went to school together at Villa, so that was a nice little group there. But then sort of took the year off for school, had to concentrate, make sure I did all right. And then you have 1 year off, and the first thing you want to do is get back. And we actually, it was a group of four of us went down to Carina to have a kick because it's 2 minutes from our places. We were on the pitch, and it's funny because if I did this now, like I get angry at kids that I see down there just kicking the ball on the pitch, but that was us. We were down there, trespassing, having a kick around, and one of the guys came down and said, you guys need to get off the pitch. You can't be here unless you're here for training. And like I was being a bit of a smart ass at the time. I was like, oh no, I'm here early for training. And then he's like, how? It was an hour and a half before training. It's like 5 o'clock in the afternoon. He's like, training's not till 7 o'clock. And I was like, oh no, we're just here early. Like, we had to walk down, something like that. And I was like, oh shit, like I've got to stay now. I was like, I'll look like an idiot if I don't. And then that's how we came to the club. We stayed, we trained for an hour, and then signed up that night.
Still there. Still involved 7 years later.
7 years later, what a ride too. It's been crazy. We started obviously when my first year there, Cat 3. And it was sort of, we were brutally honest, we weren't anything special at all. We struggled. We were always mid to low table. And then we sort of seen a sort of a 4 year transition period where we've had some great players come through, great coaching staff come through, and like yourself, TCU's good mates with some of the boys that are there now, and the rise through the capital leagues has been pretty enormous over the past few seasons.
So it's been Cup 3, Cup 2, Cup 1. So there's been 3 grand finals, so 2 consecutive promotions.
So we got.
It should have been 3. Skullduggery.
We won't have to talk about that.
We have touched upon it before.
You struck a nerve. I had surpassed it. So it started, I think, I've got to pay credit to Liam Safe. He come to the club sort of when we were at a time of sort of like that sort of 50-50, like
could it go one way or the other?
You're 100% right. Like, and if we hadn't made that decision, we probably we could have been relegated. You never know. And he's sort of brought that culture back into the club, which is so important. A good core, older generation of players.
Put a few good club men too.
Exactly right, and you're spot on there. And that really just turned a page for the club. We got a great committee, great coaching staff. We had great players, and then that was the fruit that followed. They would have been we were in Cap 3, and then that's when all the leagues changed with FQPL, I believe. So Cap 3 became Cap 2.
Yeah.
I think we finished 4th.
Yeah.
And that was when St George and Caboolture came flying through.
Yeah, I was going to say
Cap 4, Cap 3, the whole way up, which is crazy. Like, two great clubs.
Yeah.
I can't say a bad word about them.
Just unfortunate to be
at that time period.
the third wheel.
Correct, exactly right. So that was a good year because we knocked. I still remember it was Sunday afternoon, just down the road here at Willawong. Knocked them out in the semi-final.
Yeah.
And then we versed Caboolture in the grand final at Capalaba.
Capalaba was there.
And that was
Remember that?
I constant, like, you always see, like, you're late at night on your phone on YouTube, bring up the highlights. And I remember I think we got ahead.
Dan Abbey chipped the keeper from 25 yards.
All he tries to do, isn't it?
Yeah, well, he succeeded this
Correct,
time.
he did.
Yeah, he did.
And that was a cracker of a game. I think it went to extra time, if I remember correctly.
It was 3-2, I think.
Yeah, one of our keepers saved a
saved a
penalty.
penalty, yeah.
Like, it was a crazy game, and then sort of that was the catalyst. Like, that really got us moving. The year after, Cap 2, and probably like one of like the highlights of my.
Yeah.
By that stage, I was barely playing. My body took over from there, but to be a part of what happened that year, so 2018, I think it would have been. Cap 2, Premiers, undefeated.
Yeah.
We didn't lose a game in the league. Didn't lose a game through finals, and then went on and won a grand final.
Yeah.
So I think that's every boy that was in, every guy that was in that squad that's probably one of your fondest football memories. That, you were unbeatable.
Yeah.
And we had some tough teams in the comp. Like, back in the day, like in that time, like West Side was strong.
Yeah.
Sanford is strong. Still are strong.
Yeah.
So we had battles all year with Sanford, and then to get them in the grand final as well was exciting. And then it was us and Sanford that went up to Cap 1 for last year, for 2019. And, I think we sort of had that chat early in the year. It's like, we're a good side. We know we're a good side. We need to be in the top half of the table. That's what we expect of ourselves.
Because this is, again, last year and this year, you looked at that Cap 1 group and you were like, well, I think everyone said the same, and we've touched upon this before. Everyone looked and said, right, Bangravat will go up. Who goes up with them?
Yeah, you're spot on, and that's the chat we had.
And there was 4 or 5 teams that you couldn't really split.
Yeah.
And as it was, Bangravat were nowhere near.
Yeah, nowhere near.
Yeah, it was funny because it was coming off the year before, we hadn't lost, and it got to the last game of the half round, so the 11th game, whatever it was, and it was us and Annalee, and we were both undefeated, and that was the first loss we had in, a year and a half, so that was a bit sulky of a night for everyone.
Didn't they shit themselves after that?
It was that game, I'm pretty sure. They went on and lost, I think it was 5 in a row. It was a lot of games, and they didn't even make the top 4.
Yeah.
And then St George came flying through, and to their credit, like, the quality side, you can't say a bad word about them. But we were neck and neck with them the whole time, and then we made some silly errors in those last few rounds and put ourselves in a position where
skullduggery could take over.
It wasn't our promotion. It wasn't in our hands, and then
something happened
on a cold night at North Star. And
did you just go and watch? I know a few
we
of them
did all watch.
Yeah. Did you walk away on
we walked away.
Rage.
We were
Absolute rage.
Of course, but you've got to be graceful. So be it. Controversial terms, but so be it.
Yeah, controversial, but you shouldn't
just
have
for
let
people
it
who
get
don't know the story, Sanford went to North Star.
It would have been also, yeah.
And not
Brisbane's worst pitch at that time of the year. I remember, I think it was a few games before they weren't allowed to play there too.
Yeah.
It was like playing on Lego. It was crazy.
And North Star needed to win by 4.
I think it was even more. I think it was like 5 or 6. It was a lot of goals.
They needed to win by a certain amount. Sanford were a good side.
Sanford were a top
4.
Top 4 side without a doubt, 100%.
But didn't field their best 11.
Yeah.
By a distance.
Yeah.
And as a result, North Star won by exactly the amount of goals that they needed to win.
It wasn't a happy night for Carina people. But like you said before, we didn't keep it in our hands.
Yeah.
But so be it. We went through the finals, got to the grand final against St George, cracking grand final out at Logan, and won. So it's 3 grand finals in a row, 2 wins. So as a club, like, that's a huge success.
Yeah.
From where we were 4 years before that, you'll take that any day of the week.
Little club on Thurston Road, eh?
That's it. Oh, we still are that little club. We've got 1 field and a half.
Yeah. But I don't think I've ever been to watch a game there.
It's a good place to go.
Is it? It's
one
Italian.
of those. It is. Yeah. So it's the Abruzzo Club is part of the club.
Yeah.
So it's an Italian backing. But we've sort of made it a place just where people hate coming.
Yeah.
to play. And
It's a dinky little pitch. It's
it's
can get really
decent surface though, or
cold.
not?
Decent surface.
Yeah,
but
shout out to
just small.
Satoma. He likes to keep
Satoma.
the pitch looking as sharp as he can.
What's the food like? Is it Italian?
Can't go wrong.
Food
Yeah.
that they serve
It's
up?
funny that you say that too, because all the boys go, "This is an Italian food," because everyone has Italian restaurant food.
Yeah.
The Italian food is Italian food.
Yeah, yeah.
It's not their
Yeah, Italian.
fancy Italian food.
Yeah.
You can only buy peronis at the bar. That's what you can buy.
We just need some cannoli there, and we'll be
Yeah.
set. But it's one of those places where people just don't like coming to play.
Yeah.
We make it hard, and it would have been a cracker this year because we drew East in the FFA Cup.
Yeah, I was looking.
Yeah.
And that was at Carina as well.
Yeah.
So I know.
And I know a lot of the boys, obviously ex-East players, would have been.
That would have been. We would have
needle.
had a big crowd. I reckon. Like that would have been a cracker.
And it wouldn't have been an easy night. Like,
Not at all.
I mean, no team can go there and like it's.
You don't have it your own way.
You don't have it. It's a small pitch.
Yeah,
like,
and you just get sort of bullied
yeah.
into our game, I
Yeah.
guess.
Yeah. Well, you play to your strengths, don't you?
Yeah, you have
Oh,
to.
you have to.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. You'd be silly if you didn't, wouldn't
Yeah,
you?
yeah.
That's good.
So it's been an exciting few years, and then obviously sort of it was a shame to miss out on
Yeah. It
goal
would've been
difference.
nice, yeah.
Yeah.
But we're in Cat 1 again, and we go again, and the pressure's on now. And like we said before, like Cat 1's a crazy league this year. Two big heavy hitters have dropped down in
Yeah.
UQ and
North Pine. You'd
and
fancy at least one of them will challenge
100%.
yourselves again.
We'd like to hope, we hope ourselves to be in there.
Sanford again.
Sanford again.
Probably a bit of needle
Brisbane.
added to.
Yeah.
You got
Needle
Brisbane
already
Athletic,
Brisbane Athletic.
promoted.
Yeah.
The Lakes, another
Lakes,
great
yeah.
side.
Yeah.
Lakes
So
have got like Josh
Mount Gravatt.
McKee and all that.
Mount Gravatt are always a strong team. It's
Annalee? Will Annalee be strong? Like,
that's another thing you just don't know, and especially after this COVID period, you don't know what's happened.
Yeah.
Like, you got a rough idea, but you don't really know. And with promotion change to just one club now, you'd probably say you've got 8 clubs fighting for promotion.
Yeah.
Like 8 realistic chances of finding promotion, which you can't afford to slip up once.
It
you
is, you
slip
can't
up
write
once,
off.
you're done.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's going to be a crazy year.
it's going to be tough, that.
Yeah, it's
And,
nuts.
Which didn't take our chance last year, unfortunately. But
Yeah.
so be it.
Well, who knows?
Obviously, there was for a reason.
Restructure next year.
Correct, is exactly right. You never know. But
Yeah. And there's no relegation from leagues, is there?
no, not at all. So just one up and none down.
I think the NPL is one down.
Yeah.
you're right,
But
the
not from
BPL.
Football Brisbane,
No. So,
which is going to be.
and I
good
think
luck
the
to
year
whoever's
after,
doing the draw next
year
year.
after, it's 2 up and 3 down, from what I've heard.
Yeah.
So
But at least you've got a year to understand
yourself
what.
out.
Yeah.
Correct. Yeah. So
Yeah.
it's going to be a very
It's not,
competitive
it's
year.
not like getting thrown on you.
Correct.
That's
Yeah.
it.
Exactly right. So no, it's exciting times, but good to be a part of a big club and. Well, not a big club, like a big club in the sense of what we've been able to achieve over sort of 3 years. And, the biggest probably achievement outside of our squad is the women's squad. Like, they've gone from being a City League team to winning Cat 1 to now being in the Women's Premier League. So
Yeah.
There's a pretty big junior base down there as well.
we're getting
It's
there.
growing,
We're getting there. It's building. It's just facilities. We've got to make sure we get that extra pitch,
Yeah.
Cramming all your members onto one pitch is
It's hard,
it's a hard act, and the pitch obviously wears.
Just take a bit of the golf course out.
Yeah, that's what we need to take one of the fairways out, and we'll be set.
Is that, Carina, is that where one of the GPS
We're across the road from State High Field.
Yeah,
State High, that's it, yeah.
Yeah, and they've
Down
got
that way.
the facilities there.
Could you not-
They've got-
I know the GPS schools are really protective over their fields.
I lived on Thurston Road a couple of years back,
Yeah.
and I used to go like run the dog at the school. But now they've put this massive 6 foot high fence up.
Yeah.
It's like Fort Knox. You can't get in there.
Yeah.
It's a great facility though.
Yeah,
Like,
it's
I
a
think
good
it's
facility.
maybe 6 or 7 pitches along.
Yeah, I've been the GPS
Yeah,
place.
it's
Yeah.
crazy.
I always just thought because some of the facilities at these schools, it's frightening. I
mind-blowing.
went to Churchy before, and
Nudgy?
yeah, I used to coach
that's
at
like
Nudgy.
Wembley.
next level.
Yes, I used to
Next
coach at
level.
Nudgy,
Unreal.
but I wasn't the top team where
Yeah.
you get
You get all the
everything
everything
in
was there. But I always just thought if North Star could kind of link, because it's just
Yeah.
around the corner
Yeah.
with them, and then you had other clubs like Carina could link with
Definitely.
State High, whatever. Straight away, there's your facilities for your juniors.
Spot on. But
Yeah.
But they're very protective over there.
We used to be able to train. We used to do our pre-season at Villa's Fields.
Villa
Yeah,
Park
because
there,
obviously Claude was there.
Yeah, definitely.
But it's once Claude sort of left, then
Yeah.
that's sort of. But their facilities were unreal as well.
Yeah.
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 That's a good point.
I was at Nudgy and then I went to Gregory Terrace. It's like going from Liverpool to Manchester United. I went back to Nudgy the year after with me Gregory Terrace team and no one was speaking to us. I'm
Yeah.
like, fucking hell. It's only a
crazy,
school
isn't it?
team.
Yeah, that's
So,
crazy.
Yeah, but it's good crack, that GPS stuff.
Yeah,
You know,
No, it's good.
when
No.
the rival teams play each other, then you get
It's-
like I think Billy. I think he went to Nudgee, didn't you? But the rugby union,
Yeah.
they used to get like
There's actually
10,000.
There's a feature on, I think it's KO or Optus have got it
Yeah.
now on. Where
I remember when it was on.
It's like
I
an
think Billy
8-part
told us.
series of different schools. And I know, I think it was Nudgee.
It
the
was
first
Nudgee.
15.
The rugby,
and then they
yeah.
did St Eddie's for the basketball.
Yeah.
And then I think I'm sure there's another school in Brisbane that
Yeah.
they did on the north side. Can't remember
Yeah.
the name of it, but it shows you how big school football and school
Yeah.
rugby is at the moment. Like it's
Yeah.
phenomenal.
Yeah, some of the crowds for the derby games.
It's mind blowing. Mind blowing. Yeah.
And they get right, like all the kids like
Start
who've already
cheering.
played their games
Have to stay
stick
all
around
day.
and they
Yeah.
all got them shitty
Uniforms.
blazers on.
Yeah.
And they're like full on chanting.
Yeah.
It's crazy, like
Yeah.
It's good to see
I
that. You
didn't
love
grow
it.
up-
it's
Yeah.
brilliant.
I didn't grow up in like that sort of
No,
environment, so
we used to have about 10 people come to watch our school team.
we didn't even
were
have a
good.
soccer team at my school. Like,
Yeah.
it was crazy. It's all rugby league.
Mm.
But no, it's nuts. Yeah.
Do you supply any of the GPS schools?
We do a bits and pieces.
Yeah.
We do a bits and pieces with grammar.
They'd be got to get into.
Yeah, big
Plenty.
schools.
We've got
Grammar.
like 6 teams. each
Do a
year.
bit of stuff with a few of the other schools,
Yeah.
which is great to see. But yeah, schools are a crazy one because obviously there's so many different sports at a
Yeah.
school, so you've really got to make sure that you've got everything locked down.
If you got one contract with
One
one
big school.
yeah,
It's crazy. Yeah. Well, so when
that's
you
a
think
big
about it, like
contract.
there's 1,500 kids at a school that then
Yeah.
play they'll play football, then they'll play
Yeah.
cricket, then they'll
Yeah.
do rowing or they'll
4
do basketball. Like,
Yeah.
it's like having 7 clubs. Like it's
Yeah.
it's crazy when you think about it
Yeah.
like that.
yeah.
But
You're talking like on average $100 per kid.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like over the course of the year,
Yeah.
if they do 3 or 4
It's
different.
crazy. No, it is crazy.
Yeah.
But like you said, like getting a school is a huge responsibility as well because
Yeah.
you
You've
know,
got to be able to supply it.
yeah, it's not a small club.
No.
It's a big prestigious account really.
Yeah.
And Chinese New Year could screw you over that.
100%. That's
Yeah.
everyone in our game's worst nightmare,
Yeah.
really, isn't it?
Chinese New Year.
and then the whole COVID.
I was going to say
Thing.
Chinese New Year was more than just a New Year this year.
It was a
pandemic.
It was
it was.
crazy, but I suppose everyone in the apparel game's in the same boat.
Yeah.
And everyone is obviously understanding. Like we have,
Yeah.
if you've got good relationships with all your customers,
Yeah.
you're not going to have a problem.
No.
Yeah.
And most people do. Everyone's pretty understanding and knows how it works. Like you can't get around something like Chinese New Year. Like,
No.
Yeah.
They shut down. They literally
for 2
shut
weeks.
down.
Like,
Like,
they won't even answer a call, but that's just how it is.
Yeah.
But that's the game we're in.
Yeah.
You got to play by the rules, I guess.
Yeah. Fair enough. It's been an interesting chat.
Interesting
that.
chat, yeah.
I love kids. Like I
Yeah.
can talk about them all day. But all right. Well, we'll finish off. I'm not sure again whether we can do this or not. But if you want to pick a song that Billy can infringe copyright laws,
I'd have to. I probably for the Carina boys, our team song after the win, "Sweet Caroline."
Sweet
Has
Caroline.
to be
yeah.
to keep them happy.
I'll get
Yeah.
Tomo singing it.
Jeez,
Yeah.
that could infringe some copyright. laws.
I reckon you could
He's
get
just
away
doing
with
his
putting
job.
like some fans at a game chanting that one.
Yeah.
You'd be all right with that.
Yeah. There's the full Brisbane highlights from the grand final win last year. Maybe
Yeah.
that'll sneak you in.
We'll just make sure it's Billy's head on the line. And
Well, it's Billy's head on the line.
Yeah, so.
It is.
Easy.
So yeah, all right.
Love it. Appreciate it,
Good
boys.
chat.
Thank
Yeah,
you
it's
so
been
much.
on. Thank you for
Thanks for the kit.
The
and
kit.
Always
hosting
welcome.
us. And,
double XL.
oh, should we mention that we'll do some sort of giveaway? Like we've
Yes.
got a couple of extra. Josh has been nice enough to supply some extra kits, so
Yeah.
there'll be official subs bench kit, teamwear
Yeah,
kit.
exactly.
Fanboys.
Yeah, we'll have
Right.
a couple of fanboy or girls.
Or fangirls, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
One of a kind, limited release.
Limited
Yeah.
release, so we'll
Even get like TC and myself and Dusty to
Hand deliver
sign them.
Yeah, so-
sign them.
sign-
Sign them.
yeah,
with
right,
compliments.
Nico.
Yeah.
for sure.
Frame them up. We're ready to roll, eh?
Yeah. All right. Well,
Lovely.
we'll chuck something separate up about
Yeah,
that.
we'll do something with that
Come up with some kind of competition.
competition. Yeah,
Fish for likes.
that's it. Gotta do something.
Yeah.
Perfect.
All right. Cool.
Lovely. Appreciate it,
Thank you.
boys.
Ta.
Dodging hand, reaching out, touching